Smart Muses. Welcome to Miss Smart Muses, where we muse upon what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. Well, today we're talking about something that I enjoy a great deal and something that makes me very happy. Yay, we have the return of Lady Gravemaster. Welcome to Miss Smart Muses again.
Hi, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Anytime. I look forward to what you have to say because I'm sure you've got lots to say. It's going to be fun. Well, you know what I mean? There's so many things, so many emotions that these books bring up, especially with fantasy
Yeah.
being garbage nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I'm actually
So
I'm
go ahead.
actually really oh no, I was gonna say I'm actually really excited for these chapters because even though I thought we were one chapter further than we actually are, I'm actually happy that we get to talk about chapter 14 because Al-Anon, I like what he does in chapter 14. I'm here for it. So
Oh, nice. Yeah. There's some really cool stuff.
mhm.
And we have Princess Rennie. Princess Rennie.
Good morning, Teresa, Stieg, and Lady Gravemaster. Always a pleasure to be here. And yeah, I really enjoyed these chapters. But like I was telling you guys a little bit ago, I had to go through them a couple times to really capture everything that happened because there was just so much going on. But it was exciting stuff, and it was a lot of fun, and a lot of new learning new things about characters. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Always, Minion, of course, is always kicking
Oh
butt.
yeah, I love Minion. He's awesome.
I'm always afraid though because every time I say I like a character, they die. So
I was gonna say,
hope
are
he
you
makes
sure
it.
you want to make that statement? Are you sure you want to make that statement?
Yeah, I didn't say that. I retracto, and all the way from the future, we have once again the man, the legend, the person from a higher longitude. It is the one, the only Steve Kenobi.
Hi.
Hi, and how's the future?
Uh, yes, okay. Mediocre.
Oh, well, hey, that's better than it was last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you said shit last week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you don't say it right. You have to say it with his conviction, with the proper enunciation of the
Yeah.
consonants.
It's like
It was
yes,
shit.
the future's shit.
There we
Yeah,
go.
there you
Yeah, because it doesn't take much to amuse me and Rennie. Okay, we have, speaking of people from higher longitudes or latitude. Oh, shoot, latitude. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to turn back in my geography degree. Latitude, not longitude. Well, I'm not driving a ship, so we're all okay. We have sort of Pupus Kuber up on his iceberg, up around, he hangs out around Stieg, and they wave at each other apparently as his iceberg floats by. While he's killing baby seals and eating them. Jansu, yeah, the story just gets even more legendary. Hello, Jansu. Welcome. Thank you for being here at Miss Martin Muses. Jacob Ironside, hello. Thank you. Jacob, I did see what you sent me. I'm trying to figure out a way to do it without doxing the whole planet. You might be able to maybe put it publicly on Twitter if you feel okay with that. I'm the picture, he has some fan art, and it actually is pretty badass.
If it's yeah, put it on Twitter and tag us.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
more people will see it, right?
Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. To Sharon Racine. Yeah. Well, it's not quite complete. So maybe that's why. But it's up to you, Jacob. It's up to you. Maybe I'll be able to figure out how to do it because Lady Gravemaster was giving me some tips with but I also I'm an octopus right now, so we'll see how well I octopus. Snorta Poopa says the evil beast that was plaguing me last week has been vanquished to the deepest level of perdition. Thank you. Wow, that's pretty intense. Okay. Okay, Boosh is here waving. Hello, Keck. Thank you for being here. Look who's here, Stieg, your best friend.
Oh, he is going to love this stream because this book has other gnomes in it.
He says, "Seeing four ladies talking about books makes me happy." Oh, hi, Stieg. Matt G giving us the bacon. We endorse bacon here at Miss Martin Muses. Everyone's saying hi to each other. Oh, you thought Lady G and Miss Martin Muses were the same person? Well, as you can clearly see, she's an L with a G, and I am a rose. Got petals here. I identify as a rose. Oh, it is BC, aka the New Dark Shadow. Thank you for being here. Have you told us how many days it is to Halloween? Uh, Hound. Yes, we love our animals here at Miss Martin Muses. Woof woof, bark bark, and apparently a bird. Here it is. 72 days until Halloween. Thank you. 73 till All Saints Day. Nose boops and some yummy snacks for you. Oh, we endorse nose boops. JT Gunn, hello, Captain America's ass is here. Thank you very much. I love y'all. Y'all are just so happy. Why are you all so happy? Um, Poopus Poober says, every time someone says Al-Anon, I think of AA. Oh, you're right. Well, no, the other Al-Anon. Yeah, that's for people that know people that are alcoholics. You're right. Any guests here would like to introduce themselves? Please do so at this time.
I'm never going to be able to unsee that now.
Oh, I know. Oh my gosh, Al-Anon for what is it? Codependence.
You know, I thought I was the only one that thought that when I first started getting into this. I'm like, maybe I'm just overthinking this, but that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah. All right. Well, since we have Lady Gravemaster on some borrowed time, I'm going to open up the show with you. And often I'll say if there's anything in the upcoming chapters you want to talk about, or if you would like to go ahead and anything you want to talk about between in general from chapters 1 to where we are in the journey so far. So I'm going to hand the proverbial mic to you and go.
Oh, well, thank you. First of all, I don't know if you guys have hardcover or paperback books, but I do prefer the map work in the hardcovers to the paperbacks. For some reason, it just seems to like breathe a little bit more. But the maps in the book are amazing, like just utterly fantastic. I love the. I have a thing about maps, but I also love how as you go further in the books, I know I'm not really jumping ahead anywhere. I'm not going to spoil anything with this, but the further ahead you get in the books, the more the maps sort of build out as they do with fantasies that are like trilogies or whatever. But the thing I was really excited about is I think it's chapter 2. I think that is actually one of my favorite chapters because you get a lot of information, but it's not done in such a way that you feel like you're getting just an exposition dump. You know what I mean? The way that Terry Brooks wrote the whole story in general, but especially chapter 2, you really feel kind of like you're almost like sitting at a campfire and you're getting told this really incredible story by someone who's like really excited about it and is very emotive and sort of draws you into the story, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so like I just love the way that, because chapter 2, like chapter 1 is obviously like the first chapter, but chapter 2 is really kind of where we get a lot of our base for everything coming afterwards. You know what I mean? Like we get that solid foundation, and then the other chapters are able to sort of build off of that really, really well. But in chapter 14, because we get the Hall of Kings, but there's a specific spot, and I don't mean to like jump ahead. I know sometimes you like to read the excerpts, Miss Martin, but when you're talking about the entrance to the Hall of Kings, it's just so I actually have it in front of me where they say it's awesome, majestic, frightening. Like there's just the introduction to what you're going to be, what your mind's eye is looking at when with just those 3 words. It's so much proof, kind of like what you said just before the stream started, like how good writing used to be, because he didn't need to go into like 16 different adjectives. You know what I mean? He just needed those 3 that were, I mean, you know, because in this sense, awesome doesn't mean like, oh, you're totally awesome, man, you're totally cool. It means like you're literally awestruck, right?
Mhm.
So it's this awesome power, which means it's just this huge, incredible deal.
You know what? That makes complete sense because the characters are seeing this for the first time,
Yeah.
and if you see something that huge, you wouldn't pay attention to the details. You'd pay attention to
Mhm.
the size.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And so you're looking at it, and because it's awesome, and then you get into majestic, which lets you know that this is going, like, what you're looking at has that sort of regal otherworldliness about it, something that it's sort of like when you see 10 horses in a line, but those first 9 are kind of, oh, it's like it, okay, well, they're that, but then you get to like that 10th horse and it just stands a little bit higher. Its mane flows a little bit differently. Like there's just something there is that intangible regalness about it, that majesticness about it. And so, like, when you're talking about this entrance, and it's, of course, it's called the Hall of Kings, so it should be majestic, right? And
Mhm.
so when you get that sort of descriptor, so you're like, okay, so this thing it's awesome and it's majestic, and then that third descriptor where it says that it's frightening lets you know that by the sheer size and the sheer, like, um incredible art that's in front of you, it's so powerful that it breaks through the surface and it hits a chord in your soul that, yes, exactly, Jean Hugh, grandiose magnificence. That it's so incredible that it hits that chord in your soul where you can't help but just be a little bit humbled and brought to your knees, and like a little bit terrified of what you're going to find inside. Because if this is the entrance, what could possibly be inside of this that demands or was thought to need such an incredible entryway? You know what I mean? Like, I sort of, for me at least, I feel like it's kind of like you're trying to describe the gates of heaven to someone and you can't really put it into words, if that makes any sense at all.
No, that makes complete sense. No. Yeah. Yeah, those chapters were definitely really intense, and the writing skill, a testament to the writing skill of himself, as you said. Before we continue, Jacob, he has gone ahead and shared it publicly, so you all can see this without me doxing the whole planet. And here we are. Look at this. Oh, did I
Oh,
not
Ooh,
press?
skills.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow, Jacob.
Wow.
Uh
That's
huh.
amazing.
Yeah. You see why I really wanted to make sure I could share this.
Yeah.
It's exactly how I imagined it too. I mean, because you see, and you look at him with the lights, and yeah, 2 thumbs up there, Jacob. Keep it
Yeah.
up. Keep it up. Oh my gosh. And if you've got more, keep sharing them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And we're all like, ooh, ah.
Well, and it's just like, I think too, because like when you look at the because the background is obviously like gray, white, and black. So the fact that you can have, I mean, clearly the green cloak stands, like, he obviously stands out because he's in color. But when you're looking at, because that could have honestly been a black blob if you didn't do it correctly. You know what I mean? It
Mhm.
wouldn't have been, especially because the background is gray and white. It could have easily blended into the background, but it doesn't. It really does. It's like the rest of the lack of color is literally coming from it, and it's somehow still separate from like earthly bounds. And then of course you got, is that the Elfstone?
Yes.
Is that what that is?
That's
Okay.
what I
Yeah.
assumed.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that I'm not
Yeah,
not
if you zoom
calling
in on
something
it, you can like see that there's 3 different ones. Yeah. So okay. So
Okay.
yeah, wanted to feature that, and as Stig said, yeah, mad skills there. Well, thank you for sharing that. Because I can't draw worth a darn. That's kind of, I think, how we got into this conversation on a previous stream. And And also, right before we go into the summary, I made this. I shared it in our private chat, but now I'm putting it public so that again you can't see how I just say that everyone sucks and I hate your guts. Yeah. You see the message where I went, Rennie is such a biatch. Instead, here, let me stop sharing this. Uh, and I made a "We Are Here" thing because as we're going along the map that we use, and I always joke it just reminds me of that scene in Elf where he's like, "Go across the candy cane lane" and all this, and
The peppermint forest.
the
And...
peppermint forest. All right. Oh shoot. How can I do this without showing? Oh, okay. I need to hide my messages. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, that was the one where I said, and that bastard Steak. And I wish, yeah, I hope Lady Gravemaster doesn't show up and ruin everything because, her, I don't know. It's like where I stab you all in the back, but actually I do not. Okay, here we go. Let's share this or, no, we love our guests here at Miss Martin uses. Let's see, or like where I say that I secretly been lying about Faramir all along, and I thought he would think he's a bastard.
See, we all know that's not true.
Yeah, you see, so yeah, you all would know I was lying and backstabbing. Okay, here it is. Here's our map. Where you can see we started over there on the left with the that's the North Pole. No, in the Vale, and we went all the way across through the by the Rainbow Lake. Actually, this does kind of sound like something like on Elf, and then all the way over where we stopped. We picked up Leah.
You've actually blotted out a lot of the names.
Oh, well, sorry.
Shame.
Okay, the next time around I'll do a thinner line. And then you go over to Calhoun or not Calhoun. My gosh,
Coalhaven.
Yeah, Coalhaven. Yeah, not the
Calhoun is he's from a western. He's not in this book.
yeah.
And then we've got the okay. So don't get mad at me if I say this incorrectly, Stieg, but is it the Wolfstag Mountains?
Wolfstog.
Wolfstog. Okay.
Double A.
Okay. And then I have to admit, like when we were when I was reading this, the world building, I forgot how good Terry Brooks is at the world building because his story is really enveloping, but he builds out his world much more subtly than like Tolkien or Jordan or even Sanderson. I think Feist and Brooks are actually more on par when it comes to world building because they do it much more like subtly, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, they tend to build up, the events in history that's relevant to the story, and then they don't really expand on whatever the characters aren't, in close proximity of.
Yeah.
Because we don't know anything about the wedge, which we see further to the east in this book. It's never mentioned, or yeah. So it's it gets expanded later. What Brooks kind of, in a way, almost screws up is in the later books, because the world building lessons, it's more about the mission they're going for, and the world building gets a lot, it's a lot less of it in the last 10 books or so of the series.
I would agree.
Which is why I thought it went downhill a bit, to be honest. I think the first 8 books are the best it's this trilogy, and then the 4 books after that, and the prequel book.
Yeah.
Well, I'm taking your word for it. But yeah. So, and I love the way it's like, oh, we've got to go through the pass of Noose. And I'm like, what could possibly go wrong? And
With a name like that.
yeah. And then they end up like, look at this little castle place. This is fun. This is where the happy gnomes are, the gnomes without borders. And
Yeah. That one shouldn't even be marked as a castle because it's a small village.
yeah.
Well, I think, yeah, I suppose that would be fair. But I mean, I think what they had intended to do was to make it sort of its own, like palace, really more so than castle, because it's not. This is really interesting to me because from like a militaristic standpoint, there's a difference. I'm gonna totally nerd out on you guys. I apologize, but there's a difference between a castle and a palace, right? So
yeah.
Hell yes.
castles were far more for utilitarian purposes. They were fortresses essentially, and they were meant for defense. I would say that this is more of a palace than a castle, even though like it's placed in a strategic, because I mean, you're in the valley of Shale, so you've got these 2 mountains that, like, it's one of the only passages that you can get through this area, right? So it's technically,
I think
Huh?
you're mixing it up.
wait, where did I go?
Because that palace thing in the circle, right? Where
Uh-huh.
the stores are, that's just a couple of buildings. It's like a little hamlet, but it's marked as a castle on the map.
In other
think
words, it
you're-
should just have like a
No,
little
that's
bit-
that's what I'm saying. Like it should be a castle. It should be a castle. But like it's like, I know it's not actually a palace. I know it's just some buildings, but like if you had to compare the two for strategic purposes, like I know it's okay, I'll put it this way. It's not like a luxurious palace, but if you had to define it, because it's not really an outpost either. Like they don't
No,
have
it doesn't even have walls. It's
Yeah.
just a couple of buildings for
So-
healing.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure what to label it, because you can't really call it an outpost. It's more than a camp, but it's not quite an outpost.
It would be more like the Shady Vale.
Yeah, that would probably, yeah. Because it's just like, I don't understand why you wouldn't put a castle there. You know what I mean? Like looking at it
You
on the
wouldn't put a
map.
castle there because there's no castle.
Well, oh God, Stieg, listen. I am too tired to do this logic runaround game with you. I am simply saying that if someone actually,
I know what you mean. I
lost
know
it.
what you mean.
Thank you. Like
I'm gonna jump in and defend. I'll play arbiter. No, I know what Lady Gravemaster is saying, and I know what Steek is saying. You're meaning like in the world, it would have made
Yes.
more sense if they'd have been a castle.
Yes.
But while Steek is
yeah,
saying, well, in the books,
but-
it's not. Yeah.
They're very neutral, and all the races have agreed not to attack them under any circumstances.
I'm gonna just not even comment on that.
Well,
Yeah,
gnomes
because
without borders.
because they heal everyone.
I know they do, but I still maintain that they should have a castle, because there is evil in this world that doesn't care if you heal everyone. They will murder anyone that won't work with them, and they'll extort the rest, or they'll extort all of them and then kill them off as they become less compliant. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Plus you never know what the Warlock Lord is going to do.
True.
So I just
See,
I
I'm playing
feel-
both sides.
Yeah, I just feel like even if it was just like a small castle carved into the mountain face, just some kind of stronghold, because like it just doesn't make sense not to.
Yeah, Luffy as God says, I have a theory that Terry's attention to the world is to hide his characters long as possible to keep you guessing their motives, or as long as possible. Corey, does it have towers? As long as it doesn't have two. I love adjectives. They can be creative, dynamic, engaging, expressive, and powerful.
I see what
Oh
you did there.
no, oh no. Okay. Well, speaking of which, when we do get into this chapter, it really gave me vibes of the Rivendell respite from the Lord of the Rings, because it starts with himself waking up and Minion's there and they're all like, "Oh hi," and he's like, "What happened? Where have I been?" And it's all like everyone's smiling and Alanon is, gosh, Alanon is there having his meeting and and not meeting, you know what I mean? Oh gosh, that's a bad joke. I just can't. I just can't. Thank you for bringing that up and ruining it forever. But yeah, he shows up and you know, it just feels good. It feels cozy and all that. And what does it say here? Oh yeah, they talk about Hindle, like, hey, I'm glad y'all are doing well. And it's just Hindle got torn to pieces, and I wasn't fooled from the very beginning about this, because for crying out loud, you didn't see the body, and we all know the rules, and I think I said that last week. If you don't see the body, they're not dead yet. But we learned that at the end of this chapter, actually, so I should probably wait for that. I want to put the banner up. And oh yeah, thank you, there, Snortopoopus and his 12 steps. Yes. Gosh. Hey, all respect to all the 12-step programs here. The guy just, now we can't unhear it and say it. What does it say here in my notes? Oh yeah, and they've got to leave. It's like, I'm glad you're all having fun, but at midnight we've got to take off and head out. And what is it? The Forbidden Hall of Kings. These names crack me up, Rennie. I mean, it's like, what the hell?
Like the dragon teeth or whatever as well.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we're going to the noose, we're going to this, and now we're going to the Forbidden Hall of Kings. And
so you know you're going to certain doom, pretty much. At least that's what I got that it was alluding to. I'm like, wow, this sounds like it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
But basically, what the plan is to cross the plain during the night, so in case the skull bearers are around, right? So they won't see them, and then to get through the mountains, avoiding all the gnome patrols that are in there.
Yeah.
They're gambling and trying to go through the Hall of Kings, which goes through the mountain range.
Yeah. So there's a strategy behind it, but it's just like, could we, maybe
not sound so despair, like you're going to be in despair.
It's not the Mines of Moria at all.
No,
definitely different.
completely. Well, and then they're like, no man has come out alive or something, and Alanon's like, well, I'm glad you said that, because apparently
that's right.
Yeah, I happen to have. Yeah. And as they're going along, they're like, somebody's following us. and then they go, my precious. No. And see what happens. Oh yeah, and that's when they find out that himself is still alive. Yay! So he's not
yet.
Oh, at the end of this chapter. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, because they go to the Hades horn first.
Oh yeah, I skipped ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah,
it's kind of important. There's a prophecy there and all that.
Oh yeah, the crap prophecy.
Yeah, the creepy thing and all that.
Oh yeah, because otherwise the prophecy isn't so scary.
Yeah, basically
I maintain that most prophecies are pretty crappy. Like, very rarely do we get a happy prophecy,
right?
In any fantasy book, it always is like the doom and gloom of the world, and they're always like, there's one who will,
except Star Wars.
Yeah, that's true about the chosen
That one
one.
had
Yeah.
a very good prophecy about the chosen one, but that's ruined now.
Look how that turned out. Yeah, exactly.
They were really talking about Palpatine.
Uh-huh.
No, but you're right. And then yeah, well, what the prophecy is? Oh yeah, the prophecy is one of you.
We need to tell them where the prophecy came from.
Oh,
Because they didn't just walk up to a pond and there's a prophecy.
okay.
Well,
Alanon,
almost
Alanon kind of summoned the dead.
out of a pond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Summoned his predecessor druid, the one who made the sword of Shannara.
Yes.
Bremen.
Yeah. The shadow of Bremen, and he pops up out of the lake, and it reminded me of that crazy chick from The Ring, coming up like bleh.
No.
Oh my gosh.
It was the prophecy was basically one of the four people present, which was one of the five people present. It was Alanon, the two elves, and Flick and Shay were present.
Mm-hmm.
And he said one of them would not see the other end of the mountains. Basically wouldn't make it through. But that person would be the first one to lay his hands on the sword.
Yeah. And I'm not in. Well, we're not supposed to know what that means, right? Am I correct?
Well, yeah, it's not been revealed entirely after
Oh.
these chapters.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they allude to the fact first
Ha-
thought someone's
half
gonna
of
die.
half of it came through.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Okay.
I have a theory about that Hades horn thing, though, because it's basically in the small valley, and it's almost like a crater, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you touch the water, you're dead. You know,
Yeah.
I was thinking, since this is post-apocalyptic, that it might have been a crater for a nuclear bomb at one point.
Yeah.
Oh, and yet it's like radiation poisoning water.
Yeah, that's what. It's just a theory I have, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that thought entered my mind as well, because every time I read something kind of like that in this book, knowing that this is post-apocalyptic, my mind goes to nuclear waste, or it's a byproduct of the nuclear holocaust. So it makes sense.
Yeah. And Lady Toriel. Okay, just shoot me now. Lady Gravemaster. The wrong elf. Wait, you're not an elf.
I'm not
Lady
an elf, but
Gravemaster.
hey, Lady Tariel's amazing. I have no problem getting confused with her. I find that as a compliment. So thank you.
Yeah.
Oh.
If it makes you feel better, I don't even barely know my own name. So what did I call and it was in Dragonlance. I called one of the chicks Glor. I forget what I called her, but never mind. That's a digression.
Not Glorfindel, hopefully.
No, not Glorfindel. It was like some Gwendolyn. It was Gwendolyn, yeah.
She called Hendel the dwarf Hamish, I think.
Oh yeah, I did. Well, hey, that's close. They both start with an H. But Lady Gravemaster. And
Yes.
when you're talking about the prophecies, I think it's funny because when you look at what he says, there is no easy way to say this.
Right?
Yes, one of you might croak.
Yeah.
It also, I giggled because it's like there's no easy way to say this, and then he just comes out and says it like it actually wasn't that big of a deal, and I'm like, so actually that apparently wasn't that hard for you to say, because you did, you literally did, and then but yeah, so when we find out about the prophecy, though, I have to say, I'm curious if kind of like what Stieg was alluding to with the nuclear waste and everything like that. Do you think that makes the sword radioactive?
No, because it wasn't made in that place, was it?
Well, because it's made from it was made from metal that was mined in a similar area. So like, do you think? Because okay, well, I can't ruin the end of the book, but see, you know what the sword does, right? Right.
Yeah.
So like, do you think maybe because there have been experiments that were allegedly shut down, and I'm going to preface this by saying I am not saying that the Nazis were correct or that they did anything good, but the Nazis dabbled in stuff like psychosomatics and truth serum and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, and occultism as well,
Yeah,
heavily.
heavily. So, so I'm curious if, especially when it comes to like the elf stones, like are they radiated stones that were maybe
No, because
like well
the elf stones are ancient,
so
predates the Nazis.
well yeah, but that's what I'm saying, like are they stones that that had these powers that, you know, like the Nazis or other occult members were like obsessed with, and then they end up getting irradiated, and that's kind of why stuff happens the way that it does, you know what I mean? I'm trying not to. I'm asking Stig
Okay.
this question because, like, it's just like when you read these chapters now, like, or at least when I read these chapters now, knowing what's coming, it's really interesting to think about. Like, you have all these ancient artifacts and all these ancient runes and these ancient places, and powers, and it makes you wonder how much of those powers were like amplified because of like the nuclear of a nuclear situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the elf stones weren't exposed to the
Okay.
nuclear stuff.
Okay. Well, then I guess they were just awesome on their own.
Yeah, yeah, they were. It's in the Genesis of Shannara story.
I've
The
not read
book.
that one.
It merges the Word and the Void series with Shannara.
Oh,
Picture
okay.
Mad Max with Shannara.
Oh, okay.
Oh, by the
Slightly
way,
terrifying.
I forgot to put the picture up. Here we
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
That's
you did the wrong one.
Oh, wait, that's not the picture. Oh, I thought because I'd said the second link isn't working, so I thought you'd given me a different link to it.
Hang on.
Yeah, the one that has like 10 lines, it wasn't working.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, this is the second link for the next chapter
Okay.
because you know Hall of Kings, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's go.
I'll-
Okay, that's fine. No worries.
I sent the wrong one.
Well, you can be wrong once a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. While he's gathering that together, oh my gosh, my brain just went completely to mush, but that happens all the time. When the way the chapter ends, for the first time since they had escaped through the pass of jade from the Wolfstog, he felt that Minion felt, or is it Balinor, felt that success would surely be within their grasp, and that the company would surely stand together at Paranor. See, he didn't know about the prophecy. After they found Hindle alive. Ooh. Oh, sorry. I better share it, shouldn't I? Yeah. Okay, here we go.
The artwork is from a different book though, but it's the same place.
Okay, check that out.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's
I mean,
cool.
terrifying, but beautiful.
Yeah, no thank you.
And every time the shade moved, you heard the spirits scream
Mm-hmm.
in the scene, which was kind of that's really fucked up. And it took a lot of out of Al-Anon too, because he collapsed afterwards. So it's not something you just do. You have to spend some kind of energy to maintain the connection with the spirit, I think. So I guess you can't do it for long.
Yeah. Yeah, it's never good to do that. And to this comment looks, Lady Grandmaster, to you. You were talking about the fabled tool society that the Nazis had, but uranium is
Yeah.
everyone on Earth naturally, so they could have been radiated over hundreds of years from that.
They could have, but
Yeah.
yeah, the elves are not exposed to it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I'm
It's
gonna have to
it's
go. I'm gonna have to go read the
it's
Genesis book.
it's really specified. You need to read Word and Void first, though. If you haven't read it,
Yes, sir.
it's probably his best work.
Ooh.
I was
Okay.
gonna say, you got that homework there, Lady Gravemaster?
Yeah, I got it.
Get
I'll
the get the
I'll get
hardcovers
onto it. Get the hardcovers. Okay.
on eBay. They're like $5 a piece.
Oh dang.
Oh, hold on to your pocketbook, Lady Gravemaster.
I'm gonna make
some
Steve
links.
buy them. I'm gonna
Hey,
make him buy
I
them.
potentially made you a lot of money.
Yeah, Steve actually made me. He saved me money and he's made me money, so I can't. But you
Yeah,
also made me quit my job too, so.
Yeah, well, you know, got her to quit her job and get an Xbox.
it was quite a trade. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, and again, I'm gonna go to you, Lady Gravemaster, just because I know that you have some limited time, but we love our Lady Gravemaster here and her birds and her children. But no, I do. No, I love it. It's part of the character of everything, and we love our animals, and I think it's great. It shows character. We're
Oh,
weird
and the
sorry.
end of the chapter ends with Hendel
Yeah, that's
showing up because Balinor and Menion has gone back because they know someone's following them.
Yeah, and that's what I was reading when they felt so good. They're like, "Yay, Hendel!" So they actually felt like something good was going to happen. and, and it's like, well, you didn't hear about the crummy prophecy from the Al-Anon meeting. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and just very quickly jump because I know that Lady Gravemaster, you were talking about something about chapter 14. So go ahead and let us have it. What's going on?
Oh, okay. Well, so this is kind of where Al-Anon has been like a really stoic figure up to this point. He's been very like he's been dependable but mysterious, but he's also been like has kind of that distance put in, and you don't actually see really you don't see how a broad range of emotions, like he's got like depth, but you don't see that that really like that he does anything except like focused, decisive, very calm, like very authoritative, calm assurity, right? And really cool stuff that happens before this, but up to this point, Al-Anon, like I said, he's maintained sort of this like just this ability to remain eerily, strikingly calm and whatnot. And he's able to, with all of this stuff going on, he is able to roar at everybody else to sort of break through that fog of war, as it's sometimes called, through the din of battle. And then something happens where I don't want, I don't want to ruin it.
Okay, please don't.
I
I'm gonna
like
spoil everyone.
Well, it's like because we're not quite there yet. But basically, when you guys get to the part of the battle where Al-Anon does this thing where because it doesn't look good for a brief moment, and then they're all able to do something, like they're all able to like sort of kind of collect or whatever, and then Al-Anon basically, I'll do this much, he tells them to grab something and catch yourself because of what he had done previously. So I won't ruin the I'll just say that the battle in this chapter is my favorite because of how we get to see Al-Anon, a whole new side of Al-Anon. That's how I'll put that there.
Yeah, it's like the veil is being pulled back. But here's probably one of the comments of the day. Children aren't animals, Teresa.
Oh.
Because I said you're animals. I said, It sounded like I was saying your children were animals.
Yes, they're birds. I actually just have birds, no children. No,
Oh gosh.
but
Now, and is this the
uh,
correct picture, Steve? Because I'm confused now.
Yes. Well, it's the Hall of the Kings.
mhm.
Okay.
Yes, it's for this chapter. It's the stuff Gravy described
Yeah,
earlier with
awesome, majestic, and
yeah,
frightening. I mean, that is pretty terrifying to look at.
yeah, because you can kind of tell it's something wrong almost.
Yeah,
I think the artist did a very good job.
Yeah.
I
This is
agree.
one of those what could possibly go wrong.
Right?
Yeah. So anyway, so they the read. I'm looking at my notes. They follow Al-Anon through the dragon's teeth, and they arrive at the entrance to the Hall of Kings. Oh gosh, and this part got me. I was gonna say, Rennie, when they
What's
had
that
to.
What's that tapping?
Is that me?
But
I
I
think
don't
so.
know.
Because I muted my mic just to be sure it wasn't me. But yeah, somebody. I think that's a wire in somebody's mic was freaking out a little bit.
It may have been me.
Okay, let's blame it on Rennie. Rennie, you
Yeah, why
suck.
not?
Yeah, it's Rennie.
It's
Yeah.
all Rennie's fault.
She
But
was tapping
before,
the Coke onto the mirror.
there you go.
Wait, what?
I was
the?
cutting it on the table. No.
Oh, that
There
kind
you
of
go.
Coke.
That
I
kind of
thought you were
Coke.
like talking Coca-Cola.
That's where my mind went to, Miss Martin. Absolutely. But on that note of Hall of Kings and Rennie cutting Coke, I'm gonna take my leave because I've got about 45 minutes worth of stuff to do. So with family stuff. So but thank you for having me on, Teresa. This artwork is fantastic and I love this book. You guys should all go check it out. And you should subscribe to everyone, including Stig, because he hates that and we love to make him squirm just a little bit.
I'll make sure to look up those 3 books for you. Send you a
Okay.
link.
Yeah, please do. Rennie, Teresa, always a pleasure. Teresa, thank you so much for having me on. It's always a highlight. So I
Oh.
appreciate it.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, it's
Aw.
always great to have you on. Thank you very much. And thank you for your insight and everything like that. And have a great Saturday.
Thanks, you too. I'll
Yeah,
talk to
have
y'all
a good
later.
one.
All right.
Thanks. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. So, but this part, to continue, where they have to blindfold themselves, and because of the banshees. Well, first of all, Rennie, are you familiar, Rennie, with the whole banshee thing in
Yes and no.
the real ones?
Well, one of my granny's favorite movies, and this is like, it was way made before my time, but she loved to watch it every time like some of us would come over, is Darby O'Gill and the Little People. So like one of the things from that is like, the banshees that are coming out to get everyone, and they were pretty creepy, especially when I was a little kid, even though the movie was like hella old. So I'm picturing these like creepy things trying to like take people to the spirit world, or suck out their souls or whatever. I'm like, I don't like them already. And then like they kind of have like screechy voices, at least that's what I picture. And I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and they in this they cause insanity. It's funny when I say real banshees. I mean, obviously they're not real,
Oh.
or are they?
real legends, maybe.
Also,
Yeah.
the Hall of Kings was used by a death cult back in the day. Al-Anon tells them that.
Yeah.
And some of that evil, because it did, atrocities and all kinds of messed up things, and that evil is still in there.
Oh, that's cool, because that actually kind of goes to things like ghost stories. Like there's some theories that where like really bad things happen, like an energy is left behind, and that's what people are feeling. Like not necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this case, it's I think they had done experiments, and kings and stuff were involved, and there was like death priests messing around in there.
Oh, geez, no wonder.
You know what? Especially
Yeah, I
the
think
way
I think he talked about that at the beginning before they entered,
Yeah, let
and
me
then
go.
he said there's kind of like the place is a maze, but he knows where to go, and there's different a couple of chambers that are basically traps. One of them has the banshees in them, so they have to plug their ears, and then just focus on Al-Anon because he's using some kind of magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird though, because he tells them before they go in, by the way, there's a lot of crap that can happen and go wrong, but it's going to be all right. We're going to make it. It's like, okay.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah, and the second one is a room filled with gold, and there's sphinxes in there,
Yes.
and the sphinxes will try to draw your gaze to their eyes, basically. So if you look at them, you turn to stone, apparently.
Yeah, you can't look at them.
So they get blindfolded, but and the gold stuff is poisoned.
Hmm.
So if you touch it, you die. You know, Menion does a cool thing with that later on.
Yeah, because he contemplates taking some treasure. I remember that. He's
Yeah,
like,
and
should I? And he's like, no, don't touch it.
yeah, and then he does something very cool.
Yeah.
He takes a couple of his arrows and rubs them against the coins,
Yes.
Yeah.
in hopes that it would poison the arrows. And I thought that was great thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty smart. I thought. I was like, now that's pretty cool. Okay, that's good thinking on his part, you know?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
whole place though is eerie. It's eerie as hell.
Yeah. Like a Halloween thing of horrors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the whole Sphinx thing remind me of course, Medusa. I mean, I think that's
Yeah.
pretty obvious.
See, I thought of the Neverending Story where they pass by those like big statues and like if you look at them, they like shoot you or whatever. I don't know. That's what I pictured, but I do
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was creepy as F. And yeah, and they have to be, he's saying here, in addition, you will be roped to one another. You must yeah, we just said that. And they looked at each other doubtfully. And then there are several harmless passages living to the corridor of the winds, where the wind did it. Yeah, and the banshees. And I want to say something about the banshees because Shansu, yeah, you are correct. I always thought of traditional banshees as more sad, and their cries are more warning than someone who is going to die, but no real indication regarding who or exactly how soon. Yes, and that's when I said real banshees because in Ireland, that was a thing. And when I said, or so they say, because my best friend, her mother swears that she saw the banshee when she was walking home from school, and then her uncle like died a few days later. But yeah, that's what she does. She looks very sad, and she'll either scream at you, which is creepy as F, or she'll cry. She'll just look at you and cry, and she's and of course when you see her, it means someone close to you is going to die, or even if you could just hear her scream. And as a 8-year-old kid who would be riding around on her bicycle coming home from piano lessons at around 3:30 when it would be dark, I was terrified I was going to see the banshee. The banshee was going to show up and scream at me, and then someone I loved would die. Yeah, you don't screw with banshees.
I have a little theory, and it's never explained in the book or anything.
Mhm.
But the banshees in the Hall of Kings, maybe it's the people the death cult killed. So their screams and all that. It
Screams of
lingers.
pain, maybe?
Yeah,
Or torture?
it lingers.
Yeah. And instead of, yeah, like the energy that's left behind. And they say, yeah, but you'll go insane. So, yeah, maybe, you go insane, when people are tortured and all sorts of weird stuff. Yeah, they lose their minds.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. And people that survive it, they're usually batshit crazy, frequently, forever. That's a good one. Let's see. Did we get past the banshees? Oh yeah, he keeps going. Let your mind relax. Let your mind relax.
Focus on me.
Yeah. Quaid. I'm sorry.
Oh. And then because he's a little bit melodramatic, he whispers, "The Hall of Kings." And for over 1,000 years, none but Al-Anon had entered the forbidden tomb.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Did we get to the? Yeah, I think I'm. Yeah. And then they have the assembly and the pyre of the dead, where they gosh. And
It
let's
was
see.
a lot of morbid stuff in this
Yeah.
chapter, but it was exciting. But still, it's just like, oh gosh, they go from one creepy thing to the next, and then it just doesn't get better for a while, you know.
Also,
Yeah.
there's a little, tiny little spoiler. This place gets revisited later on in the series.
Okay. Well, cool. Okay, I'm just going through here, making sure I didn't miss anything because there is so much going on. The there's like hidden things. Oh yeah, there's a serpent. Yeah, that's the next big one right after that.
Yes.
Holy no, thank you.
Yeah. No thanks. Don't want to be attacked by that thing. But like they make it sound like they say serpent, but it has limbs, right? So I'm like, well, I picture the snake, but with like arms and claws and stuff. It's just weird.
Yeah, but they refer to Smaug as a serpent as well,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot
and
about that.
a serpent and a worm with
Yeah.
a Y.
Like,
So
yeah.
sometimes they'll a dragon-like creature will be described as that. I'm thinking it's kind of like a serpentine lizard thing.
Okay. But it kind of breathes fire though. So it could very well be like something, like a dragon but without wings.
Yeah, yeah, because there
Okay.
was definitely no wings. It was living in that pool.
Yeah. It says it. See, and it said everyone. The monster. Yeah, had fangs. Let's see. Yeah, and the still surface of the dark pool surged upward and out. Serpentine in appearance filled the cavern. Had a shriek of fury. Oh gosh, holy
Yeah,
crap.
the Alanon knew about it, and they were gonna him and Menyon and Balinor were gonna take one bridge like passage, and Hendel was gonna because Alanon and the others were gonna distract it,
Hmm.
and Hendel was gonna take the elves and Flick and Shay and get
Yeah,
them out fast, right?
and the Hindle did his job, but one of them triggered a hidden release, and a heavy stone slab collapsed in the opening, sealing off the escape route.
Yeah, basically they're stuck on the bridge, and oh shit.
Yeah, and they got a big ass.
They got to fight.
Yeah, and then because of that, the serpent thing, it caught their attention, caught its attention rather, and so then it goes after them. And then
Yeah,
Hindel's
fuck.
badass. It says Hindle, for disregarding his own safety, charges at the huge monster, bearing down upon him.
Well, this is
Yeah,
where Minion does that really cool thing with the arrows.
Yeah, let me see.
yeah. He shot at one of the eyes, didn't he?
Yeah, well,
I
And
think
Hindle
it's at the
got one of
head,
the
right?
eyes. Yeah,
oh yeah,
Hindle drove the iron mace directly into the closest burning eye.
which is kind of like using a huge spiked club, smashing a melon.
Oh, that's just a picture
I
don't
guess
need.
that's one way of doing that. Okay, and then Minion. Did I skip Minion? Did he get it before that? Yeah, Minion's
Yeah.
great ash bow sounded in staccato pings as the poisoned arrows flew with deadly accuracy, burying them deeply into the unprotected inner flesh of the serpent's gaping mouth.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, right in the mouth.
Yeah, and then it blows fire at Alanon, and Alanon he shoots blue fire from his hands.
Which
Using
is
druid.
cool.
Yeah, I believe it's called Druid's Fire. I think it's named later, but it's called Druid's Fire.
Yeah,
Very powerful shit, and he kind of fries it quite a bit. Alanon is a bit of a beast in this.
Yeah. It says his second strike threw the great scaled body backward against the cavern wall, where, thrashing in an uncontrollable frenzy, it jarred loose the stone slab that blocked the passageway out. So yeah, it's very convenient.
Yeah, and this thing is huge. So if you're using that Druid Fire thing, and it blasts that huge thing backwards.
Yeah.
With such a force that it breaks loose stone slabs and stuff. That's powerful shit.
Yeah. And fortuitously, that meant that was the way that they could escape. But who's her Flick is her.
Handel and Flick,
Yeah,
Yes.
Handel and
but
Flick.
they got knocked out.
They they've had a bad few days. It's like-
Yeah. Oh, we forgot to mention. Handel survived by hiding in the forest and killing a goblin. Sorry, a gnome straggler that was chasing him,
Yeah,
and then
and
he
so that's what. Yeah.
put his cloak on the gnome and basically threw the gnome at the other gnomes. It was dark, so all they saw was Handel's cloak. So they tore the poor thing to shreds in a frenzy.
yeah, that was clever the way he did that.
Makes
Yeah, I
you
thought that was cool.
makes you wonder about that poor gnome though being torn to shreds by his own.
Oh, I know. Sucks to be him.
Yeah, it's like
Probably the
but at least
worst
Handel's okay.
worst death in the book so far.
Yeah. Hell yes. Okay. Did I have that? Okay, without waiting to the Elven brothers quickly did as they were told. Blah blah blah. So they all run away, and Balinor led the way, carrying the still form of Hindle. Minnie and Leah, a couple steps behind. Durin and Dale followed, carrying Flick. Behind them came Shay and finally Alanon. The sinister rumbling continued somewhere deep within the mountains. Oh. And then, of course, they're along a narrow pathway. I mean, this is creepy. This is claustrophobic. This sucks.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that beast is still thrashing around.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know really if it's the damage or maybe Minion's poison.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Well, and we don't know if it's alive or dead. I mean, does it die or does it wind up making it? So.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah. Remember the rule: if you don't see a body,
That's right.
it isn't real. Let's see. It said, yeah, the Dragon's Crease was well named. Because they moved on after they escaped. The continual twists and turns in the path required concentrated skill and caution. So, and then a new sound came, a deep roar that quickly drowned out the rumblings in the mountain. And it turns out it's a big old waterfall. Tons of cascading water crashed with a deafening roar into the great river hundreds of feet below. And it says blah 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 blah. So it's it's like a theme park.
Yeah. This is the log ride. No.
Yeah. Okay. And then as they emerge, let's see. Okay. That's when Shay starts to fall off, right? Yeah, he's like, Shay was 100 feet past the ledge when a sudden tremor, more violent than the others, shook the mountain to its core, and the portion of the trail in which he was standing broke away. And he gave a cry of dismay. Hello, yeah. And he's like, grab something, catch yourself. And then he's like, hold on, I'll get a rope, don't move an inch. And as the Drew shouted for assistance, a second tremor shook the mountain, jarred loose the unfortunate Vailman from his precarious perch, sending him sliding out beyond the overhang before he could catch himself. And he struck with crushing force, bobbed to the surface, and was swept away eastward toward the plains beyond, tossing and turning in the boiling river like a small cork, until he was lost from sight. Dun, dun, dun. I'm like,
And
dang you,
then he
cliffhanger.
screamed. Then he screamed, "No!"
Yeah, yeah, that was that was a bad thing. It sucked to be him.
And now we know which one that wasn't supposed to make it through the mountain range.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We're in the way of knowing one of you will fall upon the way. Yeah. And oh duh, I'm an idiot. Okay, now I get it. Now I get it because the one that also okay. I'm gonna understand this friggin' book once I'm done. I'll probably have to reread it or something. Because there's so much here. Okay, before we move on to the next chapter, Rennie, I don't know if you have anything you want to say we haven't already about this chapter.
it's just one of those where it's like, okay, this happens and it's a little scary. And then the next thing happens, like, oh no, more despair, more creepiness, and but at the same time it was exciting and it kept me interested. It's just that, you keep wondering what's going to happen next. You're like, oh my God, these poor guys, they just keep going through all this torment
Mm-hmm.
and, they just can't catch a break. And then, just when, they're in the middle of barely making their way across, then, that happens to Shay and he falls down. And it kind of reminded me of when Bilbo like fell out of the dwarf party and, wound up meeting Gollum. So
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, what kind of creature or what kind of beast is he going to encounter? And we do learn that soon enough, but it's just like, oh my goodness, it just kept me kind of on the edge of my seat. But at the same time, I wanted to know more. With that serpent thing, I just like, why won't you die? Like, you just need to die. Leave them alone. Just die. And they just couldn't win with that thing. So it was very very intense for me, as far as the chapter goes. I've never read these books before, so like you, I'm a novice. And but at the same time, you get to learn some really cool stuff about Al-Anon. And of course, we already kind of knew because it was theorized that he was a druid, but he actually admits that he's one, I believe, in this chapter. And then he shows his actual powers, and you see it through, like, both his telepathic powers, because Shay hints in, I think, either this chapter or the one before, like, Al-Anon kind of answers things that aren't necessarily spoken. So Shay has figured out that Al-Anon can probably read minds. And that's pretty cool in of its own. And, just seeing him fend off these, evil spirits and beasts and, really being protective. And then there was one thing that he said, I can't remember if it was this chapter or the next. No, it is the next, that I was like, he does have a heart. And, kind of warmed me up to Al-Anon, because until like chapter 14, I was still kind of like, is he a good guy or is he a bad guy? And in chapter 14, I really started to see, okay, I think he's a good guy. So
Yeah. We're getting there. Well, like I said, it was creepy. It was creepy as F,
yeah.
and I like it. Like a lot of yeah.
Yeah, and we
Sean's.
also get this. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say very quickly. I was thinking that it may have inspired the scene in the Two Towers movie where Aragorn falls over the edge and disappears toward the end of the battle.
Yeah.
Perhaps, yeah, because that was not in the book. Goes, not foes. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, Steve. Go ahead.
Yeah, I forgot what it was.
Oh, yapping women do that. Sorry. Something about the book, something about it being creepy, something.
Oh yeah, we're constantly reminded about how dangerous this world is. It's safe in the little city states they have, right? But outside, it's constant danger. Because we had the gnomes are a big danger. You have the creepy leftover spider creature thing. We had the thing in the swamp, the skull bears, and the siren tree. That's a lot so far.
Yes.
So when Hendel is described as a borderman, and he's very competent, and all that, you better believe it, because we now see what's out there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good point. Good point indeed. Okay, now, Steve, I'm completely confused at this point from some of these pictures. Did I get all the pictures that go with this chapter?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
the last the last link is for this chapter.
Okay, so it'll be for the next one, the pick of that. Okay, thank you. Yeah, because we had some links that didn't work. Alrighty. Well, I think that covers chapter 14. I'm going to go ahead, change the banner to chapter 15, where you'd see that they all were really upset by this. And of course, Minions, like, if only I'd have been here, and Hindle and all them, they're pondering. It's like, maybe we should have stayed home. And what was it? Balinor was thinking the same thing.
Balinor also has his own things to do in his own city. There's been hints of that,
Yeah.
you know, family problems and all that. And he's from Tursis, which is to the west of where they are now.
Yeah. Yeah, and
And
he's
Flick is pissed off at the situation, but he realizes that it wasn't Alanon's fault. Far from it. Alanon tried to prevent it.
yeah.
He wants to blame someone, and Alanon seems to be the one that they pick on. But Flick
Well,
actually
because the quest
realizes,
was Al-Anon's idea, so to speak,
yeah,
or it was his suggestion. So of course they're all going to be like, "Well, if you hadn't said that, we wouldn't be here, and it wouldn't have happened."
yeah.
Yeah.
There's not a the party is not very uh, I don't know. It's not the Fellowship of the Ring in terms of morale.
No.
You know, you have a couple in there that are very quick to anger. Menion being one of them, and Flick.
Yeah. And yeah, it says here specifically, yeah, that Minion acknowledged it was not Alanon's fault, but he was really angry.
Oh,
And he
sorry,
was,
it was Menion, not Flick. My bad.
oh, okay. I didn't fact check on whether Flick, because I mean, it wouldn't make sense that all of them did. And yeah, and then he was like, um, to be forced to admit defeat would almost be worse. Even if they did get the sword, what could a man, not even more of a grown boy, hope to do against the power of a creature? So now they're even questioning that. And it's all very human, or their reactions. And
Yeah,
to go back to,
perfectly logical reaction, and they want to go look for Shay,
yeah,
Yeah.
and Alanon keeps saying, no, because we have to get through all the gnomes, because they can't go through the Hall of Kings again, right?
Well, and
yeah,
I liked how even Balinor kind of tried to fight Al-Anon on that. He's like, actually, I don't agree with you.
hmm
I
Yeah.
thought that was really cool because the whole way, pretty much Balinor's like, okay, Al-Anon, we gotta trust this guy. And he's like, you know what? No, I think they're right. And, I felt really good to see or hear Minion say that about Shay. It's like, well, he really did care about him. He really was his friend. And I thought that was really cool.
Also,
So,
I thought it was cool when because there's been a little bit of tension between Menion and Alanon, and they start to full out argue,
hmm
and it says they're basically screaming and cussing each other out, and it almost
yeah,
comes to blows. And
yeah,
Menion has seen what Alanon can do with the magic stuff and all that,
Mhm.
and he still does it. The guy has balls.
yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta admire that.
Yeah. He's like,
Yeah.
enough wise words, Druid, stormed Minion. But I thought it was cute how the others are starting to sense as it's about to almost get physical, and they start to step between them and calm them and all that. It reminds me of like when a fight breaks out in soccer, on the football field, and so two guys start going at it, and their teammates are pulling them back and trying to calm them down.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Alanon remembers what Menion did at that council meeting when Menion said, "I don't answer to you."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
He's like, who are you to tell me what to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're sitting there fighting. Well, and it also shows, I mean, they're best friends, Minnie and Shay. It's like, hey.
Yeah. I'm thinking Alanon respects the guy though.
I do
It-
too, even
I'm
though
getting that
he
impression. He's
irritates him.
annoyed. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
irritated with him, and he scolds him, and he gets some points in, saying
Yeah.
that he's not behaving like a prince and
Mhm.
all that stuff. But I do. He definitely respects the guy's courage.
Yeah.
I think there's even a segment in there when he gets something from Alanon's point of view, and it is mentioned. I think
Yeah. I'm looking here because it
it
says
could have
Alan
been
on
in
the.
could have been
Sorry.
in an earlier chapter. That bit, I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of Yes, things about this situation. It said you have the. I think Midian speaking. You have the power to speak to the dead. We saw you do it back in the valley. Can you not tell if Shay lives? Your power is great enough to seek out the living. If you can raise the dead, you can tell where he is, can't you? And is it Midian that's thinking that? Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't actually help me out here, Terry Brooks. You're the minute. Or is it Flick who is saying this to him?
Yeah, I think it was Flick.
Yeah, but if you look at the way the paragraph is, because that's what I'm saying, I wanted to make sure I was correct. There's a big long paragraph, but they never when it says Alanon there is a way, it says he. Well, and Flick, okay, Flick alone, yeah. In the there's a big long paragraph and a page turn. Editor, you should have taken care of that. Yeah, so it's Flick that is saying this. And so the druid is like, I can do this, but I will not. If I use my power to find out where Shay is, whether he's dead or alive, I will most certainly reveal our presence to the Warlock Lord and the Skull Bearers. So a little bit of if we use the ring, they can find us. But it makes sense that magic users can always sense each other. That's not necessarily something that is unique to this. And I think that they all, without even small, the tall wanderer shook his head firmly. The choice is yours. I will do as you ask. Stand back and do not speak to me or approach me until I tell you. So they go and they let him do his magic, and they say, "Yay, he is still alive." And so when they decide that he's alive, then they realize that everything is not in vain, that they're actually...
Well, they also realize that he's been captured by gnomes.
Yes, is that part of it as well? Yeah.
Yeah.
And but, before with him being dead, they were really effed. And then there's a little more arguing here. And then Alanon finally says, you have forgotten the prophecy. The last part promised that one of us would not see the other side of Dragon's Teeth, but that he would be the first to place hands on the sword of Shannara. See, that's where I went. I had my duh moment.
I had that duh. Yeah,
I know. Even like, yeah, even what I was saying earlier in the stream, I'm like, wait a second. I need to draw a picture. But it's like, yeah, now I'm feeling stupid. Speaking of which, I do not feel stupid about this. Timon Flip, hello, I'm late. I'm making bread with my niece. That is so awesome. Cool. Yes, we endorse baking bread. And Jacob Ironside says, Alanon could have turned Minnie into something unnatural. Yeah. So so this is how it all works. It all fit into a piece, a lovely puzzle that because of course the one that's going to lay his friggin' hands on it first is Shay, but I don't know why then it was acting like it was some sort of mystery. I don't know. The one that we now know to be Shay. Oh yeah, that's him.
Yeah, but the mystery is if Shay's not with them when they go into the castle, right?
Oh.
And it also said that he would not be the first to lay his eyes on the sword. So basically, they will see it, but they won't.
But he
get
will touch it.
Yeah.
Well, wait. Stieg says, I'm looking at right here. He says, place hands on the sword.
Yeah. He will.
That's
be the first
prophecy.
one. Yeah.
He said he would not be the first to place hands, not eyes, but hands.
Yeah. Yeah. But same thing. No, but it also said something about the others would see it first, or something like that.
Okay. Okay, it said, furthermore, the prophecy said that we who reach the others... Oh, shoot me now. I should have turned the page. I was reading... I was rereading the first part. Would view the sword before the passing of 2 nights. But that's not necessarily connected but to Shay.
No, it can't be Shay.
Yeah, you're right. Okay,
he can't possibly get there in 2 nights.
Okay, yeah. I was more focused on the part of the prophecy that had said one wouldn't make it and he would be the first to lay hands on it, but that How convenient. They also said that we would view. Okay, I stand corrected.
Yeah, so you have like a mystery going on there,
Mm-hmm.
and they are heading into the, towards the castle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've decided, yeah, even if Shay is lost, we can still get the sword. But we know that he's the one who's gonna lay his hands on it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he has to be if the prophecy is correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they're supposed to see it.
Okay.
You'll
Screw you, Terry Brooks.
you'll
Okay.
you'll find out in chapter 16, I think.
Okay. I think things will be made clear.
Well, some of it.
Some of it. Yeah, I think I'd wait till the end of the friggin' book. Alanon says, I would not be concerned, my young friends. Shay still carries the elf stones, and their power will give him great protection. They may also guide him to the sword, since they are attuned to it.
Yeah, because he used the stones to guide them out of the swamp, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then he says, with luck, we will find him when we find the sword at Paranor. All roads now lead to the Druid's Keep, and we must be certain we are there to give what aid we can to Shay.
Yeah, because they believe Shay, since he's captured by the gnomes, it's most likely that he will be taken to Paranor because they have occupied the castle, right? The gnomes have.
Yep. And then they all kind of look at each other and all that. And then Flick says, we will go with you, or what we agree with you. What is his words? Yeah, we'll go with you. So you know that's the plan that they're going to do from here on out. We adore eating bread. Yes, we do.
That's
Yeah,
right.
thank you, Sean. Who I had a quote unquote special moment there. There, this is a lot, and not swamp. They're called wetlands now. Oh, fucks. Oh, great. Now I'm cursing. All right. And then what happens? Okay, wait, we got to chapter. Oh, wait. So that's the first part of the chapter. Then it goes over to Shay, where he's bobbing around in the water, and he is rescued by gnomes, but it's not him. Let me see. Oh, look at that picture. Is that the picture that you had for me? Okay, so wait, they let us know that he was alive.
Yeah.
Oh wait, he
and
hasn't
then
been captured. Sorry, go ahead.
he gets captured
Yes.
like almost immediately,
Yeah.
and they
So-
take the elf stones.
Yeah. Yeah, the gnomes dragged the captive to his feet and tied him up, and yeah, so fuck. And then we go back to the other guys. Okay, where they do see Palinor. Now this is where I need to show the picture, right? I think. Oh, look at that. 2 thumbs up. Boom. I want to visit there.
Pretty big.
Mhm.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah, the keep was castle-like aged walls of blocked stone rising to peak turrets and spiral towers. And as the 7 men stood there surveying the Druid's Keep, Flick's mind traveled back over the events, blah, 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 blah. And I think there's a part where Alanon places a strange whistle to his lips. You see, he's got all sorts of weird stuff.
Got
He
a
does
cool
that
bag of
after-
tricks.
He does that after the feral wolves attack.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's like a dog whistle.
But it's so high that they can't hear it, right? It's only the wolves that can hear it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they freak out and run off.
Yeah. Yeah, the wolves provide the entire thing. Okay. A sound so high pitched as to be indistinguishable to the men who admitted it, and snarling wolves scattered. and yeah, they kind of come at them. It's kind of like on Skyrim when every time you're traveling the road and the friggin' wolves keep showing up and you have to get off your horse and kill them. And so they found that they saw it, and then eventually they find the steps that go up there. The staircase now rose in a continual spire, and they're like, "We are directly below the castle proper. If we can reach the room where the sword of Shannara rests without being seen, then we may be able to escape without a fight."
There was also poisonous thorns.
Oh, so yeah,
Yeah, and Al-Anon found like a hidden path through them, which was an illusion,
uh-huh.
and they got through. Basically, if you get scratched by the thorns, you die.
Oh, well,
So
that's
it's the castle's protected big time.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Oh, castles are badass for that kind of stuff, but I thank goodness they didn't have poison thorns because I would have killed myself when I was a kid. Salty Texas, he says, "Cheers, Miss Martin Muses. Cursing made my day." Oh, Miss Martin Muses, cursing made my day. Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad. I like to keep people happy here at Miss Martin Muses. What is Shanzo? On second thought, let's not go to Camelot. It's a silly place. Silly place. Yeah, but the good news is all the castles I used to play around with in Ireland, they never pulled boiling oil on top of us. Okay, so they had those. I'm just kind of going up to the main plot point here.
They get into a big furnace room.
Well,
Like a
yeah,
big
I know, but
pit.
I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Nope.
Because, well, like I said, I missed some of these things, like some of the details I didn't make notes of, like, you know, the different thorns and things and all that. So I want to make sure that I'm not messing up here, because I mean, where I end with my notes is, let's see, it says, yeah, they go to a furnace room of the castle, and then and then there's a big old skull bearer appears, and they they're basically met, and the dude's like, they expect you, like you've been expected. You shall receive the kind of death your species deserves.
Yeah, and he kind of mocks him and says the warlock lord already knew what he was planning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which isn't a surprise, because what's going on here is that they really thought that he wasn't going to see.
Yeah, and I'm thinking maybe when Al-Anon used the magic and said the skull bearers would sense it,
Yeah.
maybe that alerted them to, oh yeah, they're nearby.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes, because that was the whole thing. That's why they had that big fight.
Yeah, because they haven't seen any guards. They haven't seen any gnomes yet.
No,
Mm-hmm.
which is weird because it's eerily quiet in the castle until that skull bearer comes along.
Yeah, and it seems like that it's a little too easy for them, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, but I love the way that he monologued. I mean, can we appreciate this? He said, "You have been our pawn from the start, though you could not have guessed. Now we have you within our reach, along with your most valuable allies. And look what you have brought us, Druid. The last heir of Shannara! Exclamation point."
Yeah, basically thinks Flick is the.
Yeah, and they're like, you know, it's like, I don't think we should tell him yes or no to that.
It also might be a good thing because it means they're not looking for Shay.
That's exactly my thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like, let them think so. Let them think so, and then hopefully. But I mean, check this out. The fire roared in the pit below, billowing up suddenly with a gust of boiling air that singed the unprotected faces of the mortals. The claws of the black spirit creature seemed to reach toward them. I just love it. I love it. Because I mean, that's the kind of stuff. That's the stuff of nightmares.
Yeah.
But
ends on a cliffhanger.
Every
Again.
single freaking chapter ends on a cliffhanger.
Well, not the last one. That ended with someone falling off a cliff.
Yeah, exactly.
He was literally not hanging to the cliff.
Okay. Cliff tumbling.
Yeah. And that's it. So that's chapter 15. And son of a biatch. And we're only halfway through the friggin' book. So, I mean, obviously there's more that's going to happen. Was it? We're on page 293. I want to go ahead and I guess I'll open up the floor to Rennie. What you thought about this chapter?
I thought it was pretty interesting, kind of like what you said, the whole like, oh, they got in, there's nobody there. It's all a little bit too easy. And I do want to say at the very beginning when, even though Al-Anon gets a little salty with people fighting back at him because he's like, we can't go after Shay. And they're like, no, we need to. It warmed his heart and kind of made him feel good to know that there was a good sense of care amongst the team. So that was good to hear and read. Unfortunately, it doesn't really show it, but it was nice. It was nice to see that because, like I said, he's very cold until you get to chapter 14 and 15 to me. And so, it's always been kind of hard to read. It's like, well, is he a good guy or is he just kind of like in the middle? Like, what's his like angle here? So that was really nice. And then Flick and Minion kind of had a little bit of a bonding moment again where they were both like, on Team Shay and, there was a little bit of mutual respect there again. And I really enjoyed that as well. And the skull bearer, I keep wanting to call them shadow banners. Please don't ask me why. I keep wanting to say that in my head.
It's like, good God, there's a banner looking at us.
Yeah, exactly. It's a shadow. He's gonna ban me from the castle. But like you actually get to like, not hear him speak, but you actually get to like see that they can talk. Like they're actual not sentient beings, but they're actually like thinking beings. Because at the beginning, I just see them as henchmen, and their goal is just to like kill or to wipe out like the heir of Shannara. That's how I felt about it. So I didn't realize that they actually were, semi-intelligent and could actually, have a conversation, because I picture them being kind of like a ring wraith or a dementor where, you just don't really converse with them, so I thought that was pretty interesting to have that conversation and especially for him to taunt Al-Anon like he did. I was like, oh, it just got real up in here. Like,
Yeah. The bastard's confident too.
Yeah.
You know what this reminds me of though? The whole book so far. It's very Indiana Jones-ish because he makes plans, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they go to hell and there's all kinds of action and he barely makes it out alive. And then he runs into something more dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So the shit just keeps piling on until the end, right?
Yeah, out of the frying pan into the fire kind of a thing.
Yeah, that's big time Indiana Jones, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think because there's so many supernatural elements, it's hard for me to picture it that way, but I do get what you're saying and I do get the whys. I picture it kind of being like a combination of like the Dark Crystal, like the Hobbit, Neverending Story, kind of like, something in between all of those. And and then kind of like the Dark Tower series of Stephen King, because they have to go in a castle at the end as well. Mm-hmm. And so it kind of gives off those vibes for me. And but I'm finding it really enjoyable. It's just very like, okay, what's going to happen next? Or oh crap, who's going to die? Or you know what I mean?
It's like kind of in between great and guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, I hate being in virgin territory. It's very difficult for me because I don't.
Well, same here. It's like, oh gosh, I don't have the security of knowing what happens next. And now I'm on the edge of my seat. And if I like any of these characters and they die, I'm not going to be a happy camper.
Yeah, and also, sometimes I don't know. I don't always catch what's significant, because I don't. It's like, oh, that doesn't seem that important. That's just, and then I realize it's like a major. That's a major plot point.
Yeah.
Oh, but no, it's fun. Dungeons and Dragons have creatures that are called Shadow Weavers. Yeah. Or did I already read that? Shit. But no, I mean this is fun, and I was gonna say, Steve, I didn't know if there was any thoughts that you had about what we just read, and then
No, I think ending chapters on cliffhangers, it's like a classic trope almost, right?
hmm
Yeah, to keep
And
you reading.
yeah, and while it seems like a almost like a cop out just to get people to turn the pages, it works, you know?
hmm
Keeps things interesting, it keeps you want to read more, and I have no problems with that.
no,
Give me cliffhangers at any time in any book, really, you know?
yeah, well, and it's it's not well, just everything that you all said, and it's part of what makes it fun as well, because at the end of the day, we're not necessarily dealing completely with great literature here. What we're dealing with is something that's supposed to be an escape, a ride.
Yeah. Terry Brooks has said he just wanted to write adventure stories, and he was inspired by Faulkner.
Yeah.
Even though this book is very similar to The Lord of the Rings, the inspiration was Faulkner. He
hmm
said that from day one.
Mhm.
He only used a fantasy world because he felt that was better suited for an adventure story. And yeah, I mean, what better way to disconnect from the shitty real world than to visit a fictional world with a lot of adventure and fun.
hmm
See, but I felt like, even though, yes, this is fiction, I didn't feel like it was a fictional world. I felt like it was our world past the nuclear holocaust. Like, even though,
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
know it's not real, but so that's what really um, piqued my interest in the middle of the story or the beginning of the story. So it's like, oh, okay, so this is like supposed to happen here. And this is what happens after this. So I thought it was a very interesting concept. So yeah, I definitely enjoy that aspect of the book.
there's a bit of that in the Wheel of Time as well.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, that's going to be one of those books that I'm gonna, or series rather, that I'm gonna get into.
That one is, in my opinion, that whole series as a whole is a 10 out of 10.
Mhm.
It's as close as anyone has gotten to Tolkien.
Hmm.
Wow, that's high praise indeed. Even I guess better than what you have with um, Feist and all that as well. Feist doesn't quite
Uh,
get up that high.
I I'd say yeah, the Wheel of Time, in my opinion, is a better work. But Feist is great too. Well, you know this. You've read Feist.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not done with it though, but yeah, I think I can understand. Again, not knowing a lot about Wheel of Time, I read the first book a long time ago, and I don't remember a darn thing about it. It was like 25 years
I
ago.
would I would say that the Wheel of Time and Feist's Rift War series, they both have a very satisfying ending. The ending doesn't screw up things.
Well, and that's at the end of the day, that is probably what we need more than anything else. Is if you land the ending, a lot will be forgiven.
Yeah, I'm thinking if George Martin actually finishes his series and does it well,
hmm
he's
Mm-hmm.
going to be up there in the proximity of Tolkien, I think.
Oh, absolutely. If he finishes, and if he doesn't, he might be remembered as fondly as the TV show Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah,
I was gonna say, I'm sure you mean fondly, sarcastically, right?
I think
In the wrong way, yeah.
I
Yeah.
saw something Nerdrotic had commented on Twitter that he believed because of the TV show and all that that George Martin hadn't really started working on book 6 until 2020. And I think he might be spot on.
Or he
had an
re-
idea.
or he
maybe.
rewrote it, or he was rewriting it, like that he like started completely over, maybe.
Oh, that's a good.
No, I don't think so, because he had 500 pages left over. But that doesn't mean 500 pages unedited, you know?
Okay.
So,
Why
'cause
would he be lying though? If he hadn't started it till 2020, why would he be saying it was coming out in 2016?
no, Nerdrotic said he thought George Martin hadn't really started working on it. He had basically been doing little bits off and on up until then. But then he started, focusing on the book in 2020.
Okay, I mean that makes sense with what he's doing. I'm just saying then he was talking out of his ass when he said it was going to be coming
Yes.
out in 2016.
Yes, he is. He's talking out of his ass all the time.
Yeah.
See, I picture that scene in Ace Ventura when people say that. I can't help myself, but sorry.
Oh gosh. Okay, well, to bring it a little bit back to where we were, I mean, I guess if there's anything else y'all want to say about what we're up to at this point. Like I said, my brain is exploding.
Girl, yeah. After these 3 chapters, absolutely. It's been a crazy roller coaster ride ever since they left the valley or the Vale. And so, yeah, absolutely.
It's gonna broaden too, the story.
Yeah. Oh gosh, darn it! Please don't broaden.
Not too much, but it's gonna broaden a bit.
This is why I have to read these chapters twice before.
Yeah, I read
like, oh.
I read these twice and I still don't.
Yeah, I still think that I'm gonna do some repeats or reruns myself, because I'm like, there's some little details that I think I miss off and on as well. Like Stieg will say, well, it actually happened like this, and it's like, oh, I don't remember that specific moment, but and then you go back and it's like, oh yeah, okay,
or what you
that's how it
miss.
worked out.
Yeah, because I mean, I
Yeah.
see things in big picture, and it definitely.
Well, the thing with fantasy books and all, when you reread them, especially the big series and all, you'll always discover something new that you missed. Like, oh shit, yeah, they did this. That completely foreshadows that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do that every time I reread something. I'm like, okay.
Especially if it's something big, like the George Martin books. When we were talking about that on Sporking's channel, we would always discover something new when we went through the chapters. Remember that? And usually everyone on the panel had discovered something different that the rest had missed. We're like, oh shit, yeah, that's right, Teresa, we missed that one, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and also the first time you're reading through something, you're trying to get the story. Yeah, I find like with the Feist stuff, I'm probably gonna reread Magician for sure. That you're on the ride with what's going on, and
yeah, it's also easy to miss things if you're excited to get to the next page.
That's true. That's very true. It's like, come on, hurry up already.
Yeah.
Yeah, and holy shit. Yeah, actually I only read 15 one through the other one, because I just had this image of that one dude bobbing up and down in the water shade. It's just like, fuck.
Like, oh.
Like, that's a sucky way to be. And I mean, I won't lie. I read like the first I have read the first few pages of the next chapter because I was like, well, what the fuck's gonna happen next? Pardon my French. Because it's like, you're gonna receive the death, and then it's like, what happens?
I almost did, and I stopped myself. But I was like, okay, let's move. No, not gonna do it.
Yeah.
But I almost did.
Yeah. Well, okay then. Read faster, brain. Yeah, that's what Jacob Ironside said. Yeah. I try. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off here before any more of my brain cells leak out. But hot damn, that's some pretty good art today, including Jacob Ironside. Yeah, keep it up. If you got more, please feel free to share it. This is fun, and this is stuff that's worth studying, worth looking at, and all of that. Okay, anything else? Speak now or forever destroy your happiness.
No, I'm looking forward to reading the next chapters because I remember the early parts quite well from because I've read this book twice before, maybe
Mm-hmm.
In the last 25 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I read them in the mid 90s.
Oh, you're a Terry Brooks scholar then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I think the last one was 10 years ago. So it's
wow.
I basically remember, events, not the stuff between. Because if you read a lot of books,
It gets
gets
convoluted and kind of mixed together. Yeah.
because you have to retain the information.
Mm-hmm.
And I've noticed, especially with Star Wars books, because there's like 160 or something from the novels alone. And the stuff I read when I started reading Star Wars, right? That's 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So, and I started with the New Jedi Order series, which is the biggest one. It's 19 books. And I can't tell those books apart except for the first one and the last one. Because everything in between it's just events.
Yeah, I can see how that's possible, for sure.
Yeah. But if you keep rereading a book quite often, like the Lord of the Rings that a lot of people read over and over again, then you'll constantly refresh the information
Mm-hmm.
in your mind. So but yeah.
What he said. Yeah. Let's see. No, I mean it's great. Chauncey says, off topic. I just wanted to thank you for explaining the rosary in your last stream. I didn't grow up Catholic, so it was very informative. Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. That's why Catholic explained it, because I knew that it was in the news and people probably would be having some questions about it. I was happy to do so. Take care of you, human. Great stream and chat, you all. Bye. Okay, happy World Honeybee Day. Also National Lemonade Day in the U.S. Well, you heard it here first.
No,
Go to
I'll drink.
Chick-fil-A,
I'll
get a
drink to
lemonade.
that.
Ha.
Like Chick-fil-A has really great lemonade, so
Oh, hell yes.
yes.
I barely go to Chick-fil-A anymore because the friggin' lines. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Girl, yeah, and they try to do that fasting with the drive-through where they go outside and they do your order on the iPad. I'm like, this isn't speeding up the process, people. So
Yeah.
I just avoid it during like lunch rush and breakfast rush, or else I just can't
you
do
stress out. Yeah. Well, what kills me is the line's so long it like backs up the main road.
Yes.
I'm afraid someone's gonna rear end me.
Yeah, that happens here a lot.
Yeah. Luffy's God says it would be cool if we read some Terry Pratchett. Any of you read some Terry Pratchett?
Doesn't sound familiar.
Oh yeah, I read a little bit of it. They're Monty Python plus Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, kind of in tone.
That's interesting.
I was gonna say that sounds wild. Hell yes. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to let my brain detox after some of this, but no, this is fun, and I once again I want to thank my panelists. I want to thank everyone that showed up in the chat: Jacob Ironside, Sean Zoo, Snorta Poopus. Glad you're feeling better. Livia's God, thank you. We had Salty Tea. If I forget anyone, Timon and his baking bread made an appearance. And Wilkins showed up, and so did Keck. Keck was here. We had Corey Cochran, Mr. Brown. Oh, speaking of which, I almost forgot. Mr. Brown made me think about your streams. Rennie, what do you have coming up?
I'm not sure yet. So haven't gotten a schedule from Brown quite yet. Things are kind of up in the air. There might be a stream today or tomorrow, but I'm not 100% sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, I'd love to give a definitive, but I'd hate for people to show up and be like, oh, you lied.
Yeah, you
Mea culpa.
busted.
Mea culpa.
Yeah. Maxima culpa. Alrighty,
Yeah.
and Steve, what's going on?
Maura and I are doing a top 10 on Wednesday.
Top
It's
10 what?
that time of the month. We're doing top
Oh.
10.
Don't do that in association with women.
Yeah.
Anyway, top 10 and top 10 favorite animated shows on
cool.
Wednesday. Because we did top 10 regular shows on last month. So it's not the top 10 best, it's just our top 10 favorites, personal favorites, based on nostalgia or whatever it is. So it's
Man, there's so many possibilities. Is this like of all time or just during whatever decade?
yeah, of all time.
Okay. Yeah, lots of possibilities.
Holy damn, yeah.
And we're doing a horror themed thing in October, of course.
Yay!
But yeah, so that's our plan for Wednesday.
Okay, cool. New anime, says Luffy is God.
Not sure what it means.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Timon says, he's going to take a picture of the bread. Thank you. Yeah, everyone stay tuned. We want to see the freshly baked bread because there is something very special about freshly baked bread. We endorse that here at Miss Martin Muses. We endorse bread.
And if you put butter on it, it melts on just nicely and it's all gooey and melty and delicious.
It's not a selfie, it's a loafy.
Ha ha ha. Nice. Nice. And you can find me here at Miss Martin Muses. I'm going through some letters of J.R.R. Tolkien. The series of letters I'm going through right now called the story Tolkien wrote. This is his letters about the Silmarillion. And I think, look for maybe a few weeks leading up to something really ridiculous. I don't like to necessarily call it by name, the TV show that shall not be named, and the TV show I am not going to watch. Thank you for sending us a nice picture of bread. There's Shansu, Badum Tuss. Oh, got it. I read it literally. And Zekrat says, have a wonderful day, y'all. May the force be with you always. Thank you. And yeah, that's all. That's all I'm doing. I mean, unless something comes up, I just had a burning desire to do something like the rosary one, or something really pisses me off. Usually I do those spontaneous streams if something really ticks me off and I feel like I have something to say. So okay, Luffy's got it. He's listing like My Hero Academia, Bleach, Lupin, that new anime. Gotcha. I don't know jack about anime. I really don't, or manga, or any of that. That's just not my territory. So, the Castle of Cagliostro is a great one. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end this party. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great day, and be certain
not to piss on electric fences.
Right on.